Brisbane Lions hang on in a close one against Essendon. Well, an absolute undermanned Essendon. So Brisbane are able to keep their top four. Well, I mean, their top four hopes were always going to be alive, whether or not they lost this game, but it was a crucial game just to tick off for them in their road towards defending their premiership. Anyway, before we jump into this video, remember to like and subscribe, turn the notification bell on so you know when I upload, and let's jump into this game recap. So, Hugh McCluggage was the star with a 1-5-2. 159 split, 41 touches, 11 marks, 4 tackles, and a behind, 17 contest possessions, 7 clearances at 73%. He was everywhere, and I'm pretty sure his second half numbers were off the chain, much to the same of the likes of Jai Caldwell, who had a massive third quarter. But if we look at the quarter stats, he had 12 in each of the last 2 quarters to get 71 points. So it was actually his second quarter where he had 11 touches, 6 marks, 2 tackles. So the last 3 quarters he ended up having 35 touches, and in those quarters he ended up having 10 marks and 2 tackles. So he had 35, 10 and 2 for a total of, what is that, 71, 126 fantasy points, and it probably would be roughly the same SuperCoach in that time. So a massive last 3 quarters for him. But probably they needed to have it in more dangerous hands more often. And I know that he was pretty dangerous here, but outside of that, you'll see that they probably should have had it in guys that were going to do a little bit more damage. Jared Berry, 25 touches, 9 marks at 64% disposal efficiency. I think Essendon probably let it get into his hands a little bit more than most, just because I think that they were like, okay, he's probably one that we can allow it to just stay in his hands over some others, just because he's not one of the better ball users or more attacking guys. Jasper Fletcher had an outstanding game, 21 touches, 12 marks at 100% disposal efficiency. If he had more contested possessions, he probably ends up with, you would think, potentially somewhere close to a 130, 140 from this game that he had. It was probably unlucky that it was only a 111. But yeah, he was outstanding and probably needs to get the ball in his hands more often. Will Ashcroft had 30 touches. Didn't look like he was going to do much, but then he just sprang to life, I swear, in the second half. I'd need to double check his stats, but I'm pretty sure he ended up somewhere with 20 odd touches in the second half. 6 and 12, so he ended up with 18 touches in the half for a total of 67 fantasy points. So 67 fantasy points. So it was on 35. I wouldn't be surprised if he was on about 40, 45 SuperCoach. So he probably ended up with about an 80 SuperCoach second half. Zach Bailey, 90, 78, 20 touches, 10 marks, 2 tackles. He had a pretty, I would say, ineffective game. Even though he got a lot of the ball, he didn't really use it well. Same with Dane Zorko, 23 touches, 6 marks at 73% disposal efficiency, 5 clangers. So we had a couple of back-to-back clangers. Like he went, I think, 4 clangers in the third quarter alone or something, or was it the fourth? It might have been the fourth quarter, where even though he had something like 40 or 28 fantasy points from 7 touches, he went at 71% disposal efficiency with 2 turnovers. And then in the third quarter as well, he had 5 touches at 80% with a turnover. So we ended up the game going at 74% with 5 turnovers, 5 clangers, which isn't the greatest display from him. But anyway, it is what it is there about that. 22 touches, you're probably going to take his score of 90, I guess, to a certain degree, because it was chaos. And he was getting tagged at for most of the game by, I think, Perkins, a little bit by Guelphy, but I think it was mostly Perkins, which was a little bit annoying. But if anyone saw someone's tweet, you saw it was coming. Noah Ainsworth, 89, 104. He probably got the ball a little bit more often than probably what Brisbane wanted, but he was good with it. Logan Morris just missed so many chances. He probably could have put this game to bed. They probably should have kicked maybe 16 goals, 9, even 15 goals. 17 goals, 8. Potentially they could have kicked. And if they kicked 17 goals, 8, this looks like an absolute drumming. But yeah, they were just inaccurate in the first half, got to 7 goals, 9 at halftime. And then they just really had to kick straight in the second half to keep in the game, because Essendon kept on coming, because they couldn't close the game out in the first half. Josh Dunkley, 82, 72. He's dropping down a little bit. And yeah, they're presenting value next year, to be honest with you. Lockie Neal as well, 81, 89. Is he finally starting to slow down is a big question, because he really hasn't hit the heights of what he was doing last year. Kai Lohman, 79, 76. This was actually something that was flagged midweek, was just him hitting a floor, and if he could actually bounce back. I wish I had the bench strength to be able to do it, but I didn't have it, so that's why I didn't go for him. But yeah, he was definitely a guy that really could have flashed, and really could be a guy in the next couple of weeks in both Fantasy and Supercoach that makes some cash quickly. Harris Andrews, for no one else really matters, to be honest with you. Levi being subbed out, probably a guy that's going to be upgraded this week in Fantasy. I know that his job security is probably better, and they were just managing him off the 5-day break. But at this point in time, you're probably going to move him on, because he's not going to be a top of the line player, and he's got the cash at this point in time to be able to be moved on alongside some other guys to that round 12 primo. If you can get him to a bond, that would be absolutely mega, is basically the thought process going in my head on both platforms. And then, yeah, no one else really matters. And then we go to Essendon and Jai Caldwell. I kind of knew that, and the thing that sucks about me is probably in the buys, I get too sort of hyped up about, oh, I'm going to have too many guys on the buy here. I'm going to be stuffed over with this buy. I'm going to be stuffed over. And I almost just don't go for the opportunity here, because I need to keep on remembering that the buys potentially are only going to cost like 30 points if you have an extra primo out or something like that. 30, 40 points. You might even get like rookies that score 70, 80, and suddenly you're like, well, that doesn't really matter. So I need to keep on sort of remembering that it won't matter in the long run, I feel like. And Jai Caldwell was just an obvious selection. So yeah, that sort of is on me, something that I probably should remember for next year, but it is what it is. He had an absolute huge third quarter. I think it was 16 touches and sort of 5 tackles or something like dumb like that. 16 touches, a goal, and 3 tackles, I believe. Yep. And ended up on 62 for the quarter, and only a 19-point last quarter because of huge amount of tackles. But he ended up going absolutely mega. Was on 47 at halftime, so an 81-point second half was huge. I'm thankful that Nick Martin forgot how to almost play footy in the last quarter with only a 12-point quarter. And so, yeah, after a mega sort of second and third quarter, he ended up scoring 76 across the second and third quarter and was on 104 at 3/4 time, but he's definitely slowed down. It kind of sucks that he's gone large in the last couple of games, not having him, but it is what it is at the end of the day. Just happy that he didn't go mega large. Only a 116 is very thankful for that. Just because when he's on 70 at halftime or something like that, and you're just going, he could go 150 here. Like, he is tracking towards that, or tracking towards some type of 140 plus territory. For him to go there, it's all right. Zach Merritt decided not to play in the first quarter, but then the last 3 quarters, I think he got only 9 in the first quarter. And then in the last 3 quarters, he ended up getting himself to a 90. He was on 10 at quarter time, and then 36 second, 16 third, and 32 for a fourth quarter. In the long run, I don't think it's going to be too bad. A 94 is this sort of low game when they had basically no defenders in here to go down back. It's interesting. Don't think it's going to manage or mean anything for his positioning across the long run, because it's only one game. But he will definitely get, somewhat close to potentially a DPP in the long run if he has 6 or 7 games of that. But I don't think it's going to matter much, to be honest with you, because I think he might only do it for 2 or 3. Setterfield, all right, but not perfect with his ball use, but kicked goal. Peter Wright had a pretty good game. Redmond, still don't rate his ball use. Archie Roberts, his ball use wasn't the perfect, but he definitely just seemed to be able to drive them through. And 20 touches for 390 meters gained is actually a lot better than what it was in the past. Goldstein, Hobbs shouldn't be on their list, to be honest with you. And then you've got, Caddy, outstanding game. He's going to be one for the future. He probably should have kicked 3 or 4. Guelphy, Clark, 42, 44, not the greatest, to be honest with you. Got a tackle taken away post game. And so, he's going to be like Davidson. He's going to have pop games. He's going to have games where he doesn't do much. I'm not too worried about it, because this game, Brisbane had a lot of the ball. So in other games, I think in future, they're going to be able to kick it around the back a little bit more, and he's just going to pop up for another 2, 3, 4 marks and have those 7, 8 mark games where he gets a 70, 75, 80 pretty easily. So I'm not too worried about that. 2 free kicks as well probably doesn't help his cause. If he doesn't have those 2 free kicks, he probably, I think, ends up on like a 52 or a 56, something like that. So that would have helped out his case a little bit more. Kako probably needs some time in the twos. Andy McGrath, 66% ball use, probably not the greatest from him. I think he had a couple kicked on him as well. Zach Johnson, probably not an option as well. 34-48 splits. This is why you don't go early on rookies. Durham got himself injured, and then Elijah Sardis came on and looked really good in the time that he had. 6 touches in 16% time on ground, which I believe is roughly like 16, 17, probably 18, 19 minutes, sorry. So he did pretty well in the limited time that he had. But anyway, that pretty much is the video there. Brisbane survive against Essendon, and Essendon definitely have some players for the future, but disappointing display from my lot in Zorko and also Levi alongside Merritt and Angus Clark, I think were the guys that I had this game, and none of them really turned up. So disappointing start to the round. But anyway, I will see you guys back here tomorrow for the Friday night game review between Collingwood and Hawthorn. So I'll see you guys then. Bye, guys.